Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to speak in favor of this amendment. You know, supporting small businesses is so important to this country. As we're coming out of the pandemic, we need to make sure that these small businesses who've suffered so much can get the support that they need for this. You know, the 199A provision is something that was so important that we put through with the TCJA, and making sure that the provisions of how that could be utilized were helpful for small businesses. It's kind of sad that this bill that's been pulled together today, actually in some cases up to double the tax rate that's on small businesses versus C corporations. I know this hastily pulled together bill has a lot of things that don't make sense and in terms of how it's impacting people. And instead of focusing on what we should be doing to get the economy going, it focuses on giveaways, it focuses on big taxes, it focuses away on making the wealthy millionaires have better tax results than they do now under the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act provisions. In addition to that, it really doesn't help the economy. And it also cuts into what President Biden promised when he was campaigning. You know, the Joint Committee on Taxation has found that 2/3 of Biden's corporate tax rate will be felt by middle-income taxpayers, including small businesses that filed as taxes as individuals. The JCT, Joint Committee on Taxation, also estimated that it will lower federal revenues by around $1.2 trillion over the next decade, versus what was accomplished with the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, which actually did just the opposite and increased federal revenues over what the CBO had estimated. So this hastily pulled together Democrat bill is doing several things, and I just want to highlight as a problem area when we look at those. It's going to ship American jobs overseas because of the provisions they're focusing on the tax treatment of our multinational corporations. Already talked about the attack on small businesses and the damage it's going to do to small businesses versus the giveaways to the larger corporations. And it really just expands big government. One of the things that really stands out on this is, you know, we've talked about prior to COVID shutdown, income inequality was decreasing because of the economy and the way the economy was growing and moving forward. Unfortunately, during coronavirus pandemic and the shutdown, we have seen some losses from the accomplishments that we gained with the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, and income inequality has actually gotten slightly worse in that regards. Unfortunately, this big government expansion is not going to help that. It's going to make more people dependent upon government and not able to get out and take the advantage of a growing economy and help to raise more money for themselves, their families, and care for that. So I just want to encourage support for this amendment, but let's change this overall bill. Let's fix what the problems are before we try to squeeze this hastily pulled together Democrat bill forward. With that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.